You are watching Access LaPorte County Channel 97. Coming up next is the February 27th meeting of the Michigan City Water Works Board. You can find more information for this meeting at www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Ready?
Yes.
Call this meeting of the Water Board to order. Today is Tuesday, February 27th. First item is approval of minutes from the meeting of February 13th.
Make the
approve. Motion to approve.
second.
There's a motion second. We approve the minutes from the meeting of February 13th. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Purchase orders.
For you, we have a list of 7 purchase orders. The first is to Lazaro Companies, removing and replacing existing frame and door. This is on the cold storage building at our distribution center. It's the old Rose Street man entrance, I guess, for lack of a better term. The door's in really bad shape and needs to be replaced. The cost on that's $3,225. The next item is to Beecher. This is for printing of 85,000 utility bills for $2,286.61. Third is to Vertical Custom Creation. This is concrete repair at 110 Thomas Boulevard. This is for a service line install for $1,200. The fourth is to Easy Automation, replacement filter table screens. These are touch screens that we can use to control the filters in the plant for $2,098. These are for stock, so that when others fail, we can replace them. The fifth one is to Ferguson. These are repair clamps for stock for $870. The sixth one is Flanagan Tire. These are tires for the case number 1 and case number 2. This is confirming. These are the rear tires on their backhoes. They were in very bad condition for $2,540.96. Last one, number 7, is Tahasan Associates. This is additional sub-consulting, providing wetland permitting at US 20 and additional hourly for the work that they are still doing for that portion of the US 20 main extension project. The original PO was 2023-000160. That was approved back in September, and our system doesn't allow us to add on to an old purchase order, so we have to create a new one when it changes years. The total amount is $38,800, and out of that, $26,000 of it is for the wetland permitting work.
Are we keeping ahead with the purchases so we have stock for future use?
Oh, you mean for like other materials?
Yes.
Yeah, we placed a order for a bunch of stuff at the after the last meeting. We had several items that were listed for stock.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
We gotta keep up on that. You don't wanna be left going, hey, I need one of these, I don't have it.
Right. Yeah, since used to be a lot of things were available right away, so you didn't have to carry as much stock, but now, unfortunately, since COVID, that hasn't been the case with some materials, and with some of the money being spent in other communities as well, it does eat up some of the materials, so we've been trying to stay ahead of it as much as possible.
Excellent. Motion to approve the list of purchase orders dated 2/27/2024.
I'll second it.
Motion second. We approve the purchase orders as of February 27th. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign. Motion carried. Claims. Y'all had a chance to look at the claims.
Motion to approve the list of claims dated February 27, 2024. I'll second it.
Motion second. We approve claims as of February 27th. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Financial statements.
Run through our cash flow real quick on page 2. Our total receipts for the month were $649,393. Our disbursements were $843,593, not including our transfers. We spent $20,303 for inventory items and $52,519 for capital items. Left us with an ending balance for the month of $237,489. And on page 3, on our expense section, the distribution line is over forecast. We have quite a bit of paving, patching, and concrete repairs in there that amounted to almost $45,000. The general line was over forecast as well. We had our SSI software annual support in there that was $26,557. Left us with a net loss for the month of $141,234, and that of course includes depreciation expense. On page 4, the contracted services line is higher than forecast here. That is where the software support and the paving and concrete repairs fell. Our transportation line is a little bit low, but that appears to be just bill timing. That is the only thing on this page. And then on page 6, I just want to point out that our bond payment is due on 3/1. So we'll be making that here for $677,856 for our 2015 bond. Unless there's any questions, that's all I've got.
Okay. Do we have a breakdown of our fire hydrant incident?
Not yet. We still know we're finishing up a couple things and we're still waiting an invoice. Woodruff and Sons helped us out a lot on that project, and they are still working on their invoice to us for that.
All right, any other questions on the financials? Someone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the financial statement January 2024 by Chris Wolf.
Second.
Motion second, do we approve the financial statements as presented dated January 31st? Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, and the highlight of the end of the evening, the capital improvement project.
So, we had the presentation at our last meeting by Western Engineering, who assisted us in producing this capital improvements plan. It's our standard, it's basically written out as a 20-year plan. The last one we did was in 2013. So it's been about 10 years. It was definitely time to revisit it. And so I guess at this point I'll just have it open for any questions about what you've had an opportunity to review in the plan, any of the projects that you have questions about or anything like that.
I had a question. When I was going over and you were talking about painting the water towers, didn't we paint the Carroll Street water tower recently?
Yes, we painted those. What page are you referencing?
It was on page 31, I believe. Hold on. Let's see if I'm correct in that.
31.
Maybe not. Hold on. Yeah, 31.2.3.1. It said that it was not. It was last painted in 2018.
Yeah. Yes, that was Carroll Avenue. Was interior was painted in 2017, as was the Hitchcock Street tank. And then in 2018, they did the exterior of Carroll Avenue. In 2019, we did the exterior of Hitchcock.
Oh.
And those were just
What did we paint
overcoats.
last year? Didn't we paint some last year?
In 2021, we painted the backwash.
Oh, that's what I must have been thinking. Okay, I was just reading it going, okay.
And yeah, basically, we put funds away, anticipating, repaints in 15 years. So when the time comes, we'll have adequate funding for that.
Very good.
Needless to say, when we to fund all this, we're gonna have to do a bond, for a bond or two.
Right, yeah.
How do we determine that amount and the timing of that?
Basically, we're gonna go with looking at the priorities, what items are gonna be prioritized, and then, as far as when that bond occurs, will be based on, the financial review that we're currently underway with regards to, Baker Tilly. They're working on that right now. And so once they get through their process, that'll be part of their process, is to determine amounts and timing. The timing would basically, we have to make sure that we have adequate funding to cover any additional bonding. We'll know those answers better when the financial review is completed.
And the annual water main replacement program, we got it down here at $3 million a year.
Right.
You think that's gonna be enough?
What that does is that allows us to change out about 1% per year. That fluctuates based on size of the main, difficulty on the project. So if it's an area that's a relatively easy project, the cost per foot is less. Or if it's a smaller main, the cost per foot is less. So we'll use prioritization, a combination of age, but then also issues. So where we might have a newer main, but it's, so for example, we have some mains in the southern end of our system. They're installed in the 1950s and 60s. But the soil down there is very corrosive. And those water mains have had more issues on them than some of our 125-year-old water mains up here on the northern end, because they're sitting in sand. And so we'll prioritize based off of a combination of age and condition.
We will, of course, when we went into a corrosive area, have new materials to be able to basically stabilize.
Right, nowadays, we wrap the water mains with plastic,
Okay.
with a plastic, basically it's a thick, heavy plastic bag that goes around the water main to protect it from any corrosive soils. Additionally, when you backfill the trench, you're not supposed to put clay against the water main. You're supposed to backfill with sand and or gravel material to protect the water main. So that would be, as long as everything's installed properly, it should help as well.
Okay, excellent.
Well, they did a good job of putting us all together as to what the needs are.
That was excellent. It's excellent. I only fell asleep 3/4 of the way through.
I know it's a lot of information, a lot of activity. If we're able to do everything that's in here, we are going to be very, very busy. So, that's,
It's extensive, I can guarantee that.
we have to put out what all of our needs are, and then as time goes on, we're gonna reprioritize some things that may look like a high priority today, may not be in a couple of years. And then some other items may pop all the way to the top really fast. Prime example of that is, there's a project in here about removing that water main, dealing with that water main that's hanging on the bridge. And like I said, we just found out that that was actually leaking. It's not just hanging there anymore. Now it's a problem. So now we have to take care of it, and perhaps that piece of project, it actually gets moved up and accelerated, what it'll take to get that main out of service. We're okay for now. We have adequate fire flow and that sort of thing, but we do need to get the circulation back that we had with that main, so.
Well, at least we're aware of it, and what needs to be fixed.
Right.
Good.
And we have enough staffing. Seems like we have a lot of projects.
That will be yet to be seen.
Okay.
I mean, we're constantly, we have folks coming and going too, so we're
I
working
know.
on that part of it as well.
How about the gooseneck project? We on track for that this year?
We're working on them. I'm working on trying to get the material for accelerating it beyond. We have been attacking them. As a matter of fact, the city is preparing to pave several streets, and a couple of those streets had several goosenecks on those streets, and so our crews are out there. They've started on replacing all those so that we get that done prior to the city coming through and paving. So we're moving forward on it, and we need to get we need to figure out how to get the brass. That's the hard part. It's getting the brass.
That's still an issue.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Vote on this tonight then?
Yeah, you'd like to vote on this tonight, right?
If that's the board's pleasure.
Well, does anybody need more time to do this?
I'll make a motion to improve the capital improvement plan for the water system improvements, Michigan City Water Plant.
I'll second it.
There's a motion and a second. Do we approve the capital improvement plan for water system improvements from the Department of Waterworks in Michigan City? January of '24. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you for all your hard work. That's a lot of work. I read through.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's been,
Yeah.
it's been a lot of work to get to this point, and now we actually have to do things.
I'll approve.
All right, next item is the main extension code for County Road West, 375 north.
Yes. It's, you have in your packets, you can see a map of the property that's planned for development. As it currently stands, the plan for this project, they're going to have a smaller office building on the north side of this property. And then on the south side of the property, they're intending to have a building that's all over 600,000 square feet. So it's a pretty good sized building. It's gonna need, they're looking for a 10-inch fire service for that big building. So what we're looking at is needing to extend where we currently have a 12-inch water main that ends at the corner of their property. And we have a 20-inch main out on County Road 950 West or Cleveland Avenue, Cleveland Street. basically tie these two pieces together. And their tap will be off of that for that big building. The smaller building will be tapped off of the 12-inch main on the north side, off of County Road 400 Kiefer. Since this loop is a benefit to both us and the developer, I was going to say, my suggestion is that we split the cost of the extension 50-50 with the developer. Our folks will be doing the install, so we're gonna eat the labor like usual, but then we're gonna pick up a portion of the materials where it ends up being 50-50 split for the value of the project. With that 50-50 split, the cost of the developer would be $82,694. The department will be paying $36,623 in materials, plus the labor, which is our people, so we would be paying them whether they were doing this job or something else.
Do we know what this development's gonna entail?
As far as beyond what the buildings are planned to be, I don't know what the plans are for inside the building. I believe it's speculative build. At this point, I don't believe they have tenants identified yet. This particular project's been going through the county because it's just south of the city limit. And so, when it's a city project, I have a little more information than when it's a county project.
So at this time, we don't know if it's residential or full.
Oh, no, it's all commercial industrial.
Industrial.
Yeah, if it's industrial, it'll be light industrial.
Okay, good.
So we approving the quote tonight, or is this
Yeah, this would be to approve a quote, and then I would send the quote to the developer.
I'll make a motion to approve the main extension quote, County Road West 375 North.
I second it.
a motion second to approve the main extension for County Road West 375 North for a quote? Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, old business.
I'd like to provide a small update on the US 20 project. We have been working, as you know, we've been working with the sanitary district. The contractor that was approved, which was approved at the last sanitary board meeting just prior to our last water board meeting, and then we affirmed that at the water board meeting. They have begun tree clearing. They're starting on the north, coming down from the north, going past the cemetery property. Once they get past that, then they'll start taking down the trees that are necessary along Highway 20 to make room for the water main project. We are anticipating having to be possibly in underneath US 20 for a short portion when we cross the railroad. So right now that's under development design. Haas and Associates is working on the majority of the water main project, and then Wessler Engineering is taking care of the railroad crossing because they have personnel that have done a lot of those. We just had a meeting today to to discuss some more detail and get things figured out a little bit better so that we can move forward. As far as easements, those will be determined shortly, what's needed. And then that information will be provided to the property owners for them to provide approval for the easements. At this point, they've given us verbal approval, essentially stating that they're okay with what we're planning to do, but then we have to get them the legal documents. The wetlands delineation came back, and as I mentioned, the permit for the $26,000. That is to use the soil solutions to do a streamlined wetlands permit. We have found that about 1,600 feet of the water main installation is going to be under what's considered wetlands, even still after all of the Supreme Court decisions and Indiana General Assembly decisions. So at this point in time, we're going to run it through, and it's going to get, we're going to run the permitting process through the Army Corps of Engineers, and that's what this company is going to take care of for us. That's what the $26,000 was for. Once they get that all worked out, then we'll start getting, then we should be at a point where we have design drawings ready right around the time we get those permits figured out. And hopefully we'll be getting this thing out to bid in short order there.
We will beat the bats.
If we get the trees down by the 31st of March, we beat the bats.
Okay.
Okay, let's get close.
Those are the little brown bats,
Bats,
we call
the
them.
kind-
Well, the
Brown bats.
brown
Brown
bats aren't
bats.
the problem. The brown bat, well, they can be, depending on what type of trees it is, but the brown bats are specific to a couple of types of trees. However, the other bats that recently became protected or they're under endangered species, they have no preference other than size of the tree. So that kind of puts us in a spot.
I think it was 3 or 4 inches in diameter for the tree, and
Yeah, I think it's anything larger than 3 or 4 inches is what those bats look for. So, yeah, we're trying to beat the bats.
okay. Within the realms
Sounds
of
very
legality.
interesting.
Hey, that's what happens. I mean, if you have a creek that has spawning salmon, you can't do a directional bore under it at certain times, even though you're not actually even disturbing the creek. But they will not allow you to do bores under those at certain times, depending on what fish are in there and what they're doing. So there's a lot of pieces to that. It was just a surprise how significant of an issue it was going to be, and how we had to accelerate that. So,
As long as we're compliant.
that's right. That's right.
Excellent.
All right, anything else?
Not under old business.
New business?
Under new business, on April 9th through 11th, the Indiana Section 8 WWA is having its annual section meeting in Indianapolis at the Downtown Marriott, as we've had for years. The intention would be to go down on April 8th because activities start at essentially 7 o'clock our time on Tuesday morning. So, at this point in time, I do have to say that right now we are not, I had to go ahead and book some rooms because of the eclipse. Indianapolis is booked pretty heavy.
Yep.
And the Marriott doesn't have any rooms available anymore in its block. So the closest I could get is the Courtyard by Marriott, which is on the other side of the JW Marriott. So you have to walk from the Courtyard by Marriott through the JW by Marriott, through the parking garage to the Marriott where the meetings are. So it's
Oh my gosh, we have to walk?
or use a cab. So I do have feelers out in the event that some of the rooms that are in the block are canceled. My name's on the top of the list in the waiting list to get notified, hey, there's some rooms available. So I guess at this point, the question is if there was any board members interested in attending. At this point, we're looking at three department members, myself, our plant superintendent, and our one of our operators.
That's how many you have?
That's how many that are gonna be going down at this point. And then if any board members are interested, you don't have to tell me today.
Mhm.
Just let me know, in the next few days, because I do have until April 1st to cancel rooms.
Okay. Gotcha.
All right. Any other old business, any business?
That was it.
Public comment.
So, whoop.
Hey, hello.
There you
I knew I came here for a reason. Yeah, my name is Scott Mellon, 200 Kenwood Place. We don't stand here. There's no really good place for you
What's
guys.
the spelling of your last name?
Meland.
Meland,
Yep, Scott Mellon, 200 Kenwood Place.
200 Kenwood.
Yep, so I have a series of questions for you. Some easy ones, and I hope you might indulge me given I'm the only member of the public here. Didn't know about bats and trees, but they might be early this year because of the weird weather. I would suggest whatever you can do to accelerate that before the deadline would be beneficial. They might be weeks early, who knows? For what it's worth. The main extension to 375 North, I would ask that we not expend anything on that before we know the developer has building permits approved. I don't know if that's all the right standard course of business, but this city has done things for developers that have not been developed.
I can answer that question right away.
Yeah.
We don't spend any money until the developer has sent us their money. So they're not gonna send us their money until they've got their bank approvals. So, and their bank approvals won't happen without authorization.
They kind of need your approval to get their approval.
They're gonna have to get the county's approval to do what they're gonna have to do in order to get the bank to give them the money.
Yeah.
To then give to us. So we're way down on the list of when we do
Okay.
anything. We don't spend money until they send us money.
What are goosenecks?
It's a short portion of the water service. Back in the old days, when they used galvanized line, of course, you can't bend galvanized water line. So they used a short piece of lead pipe that was it was called a gooseneck because of the shape.
Right.
And at the end, it had a little bulb, so it actually looked like a goose's neck with its head. And it's only a short piece, maybe about this long, that just fluxes and gets to the galvanized line. We're not under any directive to replace them unless we dig something up, because our lead and copper testing has shown that we're not corrosive and we haven't exceeded the federal and state regulations on that. But because those regulations are changing and because there will be some new modifications to the EPA's directives on this, we've been slowly replacing them year by year, and our intention is to try and accelerate it. But at this point, we'll have it from what information I've seen from the EPA, we'll have it done before any deadline that the EPA sets forth. But we're hoping to accelerate it on our end.
Do we have that? Do we have that additive? What is calcium? The coast lead.
We use a corrosion inhibitor in our water. We put that in place back in July of when did it go online? July of 19 or 20. Can't remember. I think it was 19. July of 19.
It's just kind of funny. We release more lead, replacing the old goosenecks, than probably is released with them. It's just
Well, we make sure that's not an issue with me.
nothing against the water department. It's just when you disturb the old things, it gets messed up. That nice, the 20-year plan. Was that a consultant? What was the cost of the plan?
It's cost to produce the plan. I'm sorry, I don't recollect that amount off the top of
It
my
was a
head.
consultant though.
Yeah, we had a consultant work on that.
And is that plan available online for public review?
This plan, we would not put this plan online because it does contain information that is limited and can cause problems for us. So some of these items like this are not part of the open door FOIA. The federal government does have some restrictions on what we can put out, and some of the stuff in here could be considered, some of the information could be used to cause issues.
Sure, I understand. Is there maybe an executive summary that could be, or is,
I'll look and see if the executive summary can be published.
and does that plan allow for, what amount of growth does that allow for since the city's expecting to have population? Certainly they accounted for that.
They did account for population changes over the next 10 years, and the next 20 years. They also accounted for population changes for our areas that are outside of the city limits that we service, and our entire service area, because we have parts that we currently do not have water main in, but according to the IURC, we are the first choice if somebody wants to have water in those areas.
Along with that plan, do we have, given federal funding for infrastructure and so forth, do we actively go after federal bucks for this kind of stuff?
Whatever we can, yeah. There's one of the odd pieces of how that works is all that money goes through the Indiana Finance Authority. A lot of that money ends up going through the state revolving fund loan program. And a lot of that state revolving fund program, oddly enough, because our rates are low compared to other utilities in the state, it's hard for us to qualify for some of those things.
We have to charge more to get more?
That, unfortunately, that is the way it's, and the idea is that if we can't get it done with the rates we're charging and we're significantly less than other people, then we should bring our rates up in line with other people if we're wanting to compete for money that they're competing for.
Okay. Last question, and probably the biggest one. What is the budget for the water department, and what percentage of that budget is covered by receipts?
We have a business plan for the department. Our business plan is based off of historical activity and anything that we know is coming. We operate our entire operation off of receipts. We don't put in our plan any grant or anything like that unless we know we've landed something.
So we're self-funded?
We're self-funded. There are no tax dollars used to operate our facilities. In fact, we actually make a payment to the city. It's called a pilot payment. It's payment in lieu of taxes, and it offsets the fact that because we're part of the city and we're a tax exempt organization. If we were a private utility, we'd have to pay property tax for ourselves. And because we don't do that, we make a payment in lieu of taxes to the city.
I want to thank you guys for doing a great job and keeping your eye on the future, and
Thank you.
keep up the good work. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for coming.
Any other public comment? Director's comments? No?
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
No second adjourned, all those in favor?
Aye. Oh, but I have a fun fact.